Recently, I sat down with Graeme Butchart to explain to me what conscious leadership was all about. To achieve our goals in life, we have to develop a particular mindset which helps us define our character and prepare us for life challenges. But this requires a particular skill besides the usual creative, intellectual capabilities. And that is why many people these days consult life coaches, especially professionals. But one such person that I've come to know over time and interacted with and found his thoughts very interesting is Graeme Butchart, motivational speaker, innovation coach, a former advertising executive and currently teaches at a business school and is author of the book, The Genius Program. Now he has developed a new approach called conscious leadership. Graeme, good to catch up with you once again.
You too,
After
Tim.
so many chats on radio and now we
Absolutely.
catch up here on television. And this interview follows the conversation we had recently when you told me about what you call conscious leadership, right? And I felt, okay, let me get the benefit for free and invite you to come to the show and talk to us about conscious leadership. And I did not want to preempt, because sometimes you hear a word conscious and you hear another leadership, and then you conclude you know what that means. I doubt very much that I know what that means.
Okay, beautiful. So let's share a bit of this with the audience.
Yeah.
First of all, and I think one of the big challenges about this is many people don't even understand what leadership is.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
A lot of people confuse leadership with positions of authority
Yes.
or positions of power.
And formal positions for that matter.
Formal positions.
Yeah.
And they tend to marry those two ideas, that positions of authority and power are in fact leadership. But leadership is a separate thing altogether. Leadership occurs when an individual does or creates an act that is inspirational. Okay? And that act of inspiring leads to other people that look at that person and say, hey, that's a good thing, okay? I'm going to do what Tim did. That's leadership. So we're all capable of leadership. And with that in mind, one needs to then ask, well, leadership and how it sits in authority, are the people that are in positions of authority, in positions of power, actually leaders, or are they just people in positions of authority and power?
Well, it's a bit confusing before, we go to the next part. Okay. People in formal positions of authority.
Yes.
In relation to what leadership is,
Yes.
right? Is it a requirement, therefore, that whoever is in a position of authority to have some form of leadership qualities? Yeah, that's the
Absolutely.
question. Yeah.
And that leads to the second thing, and
Sure.
that leads to the consciousness of it.
Okay.
So we're either conscious in what we're doing, okay? In other words, you and I are present right now to what we're doing. We're conscious of that.
Yeah.
Okay? It's uppermost in our mind.
Yes.
Or, in many instances, we're unconscious and we're just operating
Yes.
on a habitual level.
Yeah.
We're just doing things because that's the way we did things previously.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just functional. And that's then unconscious behavior. And we spend a great deal of our lives, all of us, in this transition between being conscious and unconscious. Leadership demands, and one of the values that leadership must bring is a higher level of consciousness. We need to be more conscious as leaders.
But here's the point.
Yes, sir.
We're working our way to the whole story. Conscious or consciousness may mean to other people the mere fact that I'm awake. My senses are alive. I can see, I can hear, I can speak. But I suspect it means a bit more than that. Because sometimes, as much as we are able to do things, we can do things the wrong way around all the time. You speak without thinking, that type of thing.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
right. Now, if I have a responsibility, I'm managing a small enterprise. Okay, I'm managing a big enterprise. I'm managing an organization. I'm managing a country.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Then I need to be responsible for the decisions I'm going to make, regardless of how big or small they are. And that demands of me that I stand higher in my consciousness. I am aware, and I know I need to know more frequently, more regularly, that I cannot afford to slip into that habitual thinking. Because in that habitual thinking, I could deliver something that isn't of benefit to my commitments to other people, to the organization, to the nation, etc. So it's when we slip in and out of this as leaders, okay, that we need to be aware, we need to be open, we need to be, yes, beyond just being awake, what am I about to do? What am I about to say? What am I about to deliver? What is that going to do? How is that going to impact on the people nearest to me, that extended audience, etc.?
Okay, let's reduce it to our individual selves, because sometimes we look at those in positions of authority and then say, it's got nothing to do with me, whatever. I can get on with my life the way I like.
Yes.
But yet in our homes, in relationships and so forth, we can and sometimes are leaders anyway.
Yes.
In those different contexts.
Yes.
What is the practical, how does conscious leadership look like? And if you don't have that, how do you develop it?
Okay, all right. Well, what I have here is this little tool.
Sure.
Okay. And I like to use this tool because it helps the individual see clearly those examples, all right? So if you imagine a line, okay, if we imagine a line,
Yeah.
and we need to then ask, where am I?
Okay.
And that's a conscious question, where am I? Because asking that question brings me immediately to this present moment. Where am I?
Yeah.
Now, where am I in relationship to a line? I'm either above this line or I am below this line. If I am below this line, okay, if I am unconscious, all right, then immediately one of the characteristics of that behavior is I become defensive. I am closed. I am committed to being right about me and what I stand for. I typically don't have enough, all right? And I don't have enough money, I don't have enough energy, I don't have enough time. That list can go on indefinitely. When I'm below this line, or when we are below this line, we tend to seek approval, okay? When we're below this line, that's where we look to fault others, we look to blame others, we look to justify our actions. That's where gossip is born, when we're operating below this line, okay? When we're in that space, we're also in conflict. We're in conflict with ourselves, we're in conflict with those around us. And that creates a condition that's overwhelming. It overwhelms us. So our energy is lower, and everything we do manifests that lower energy.
That's when we are unconscious.
We're unconscious.
When we are conscious, and how do we develop that consciousness?
When we're open,
Yeah.
when we're above this line, okay, we are committed to learning. We understand that learning is lifelong, and that the small mistakes I make as a human being, we are all human beings, we all make mistakes. When I make a mistake, I look to see what is the learning in it for me? What is the learning in it for others? I'm open to learning. When I'm open to learning, I grow, I develop. And when I develop, that's of benefit to everybody, particularly if I've got a group of people beneath me. When I'm above the line, I'm intuitively curious. I ask questions. I say what, where, when, and how. And that's a part of my language. When I'm above the line, I'm operating with a listening that is deeply focused. I pay attention to what other people are saying. I don't just superficially hear.
Yes.
I listen. Yes. I actively listen. And that's a quality of conscious leadership, okay? When I'm above the line, I speak unarguably. So I speak my voice. I have my opinion, but it's not in argument, okay? When I'm above this line, I question all belief. All belief. Because typically what will happen in leadership functions is there's a set of protocol, there's a set of rules that we created a decade ago, or last week, or whatever. And we tend to follow those. We tend to say, well, that's how we've done it before.
Yeah.
So this is how we'll do it now.
But what is the benefit as we conclude?
Yes.
Graeme, tell me. I mean, I like to see things that whatever we do is based on the benefit
There's
factor.
a benefit to it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
the
what's in
benefit
it for?
to it, one of the big things here
Yes.
is that consciously we need to collaborate. If we're going to address and solve the challenges that we have, the challenges of the world, we're not going to do it with short-term thinking. And unconscious leadership, in many aspects, is about delivering those short-term outcomes. Okay, short-term profits,
Yes.
short-term gains
Yes.
for my communities.
Yes.
Okay, for my little team.
And you see yourself as
gain.
separate from the united whole,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
The solutions to the planet, all of the solutions, lie in bringing best minds together. Okay, young and old, everyone needs to work together. We need to collaborate more. And consciousness is about understanding that I don't know the answers to everything, but you know what? You and I, Tim, okay, and some of those great people out there in this country, together, let's share our ideas.
Yes.
Let's be open to all our ideas. Let's collaborate and work towards it. And that's solution creation.
And of course, it could be the third way, the fourth way, the fifth way. So many different
Absolutely.
options that are there if you pull different ways of thinking. And of course, we suspend the unconscious parts that you spoke about earlier on. Yeah,
Correct.
Much appreciated, Graeme.
Thank you,
and
Tim,
I know
again,
there's more to this thinking than what we touched on, but I felt, let's get a flavor of it, a sense of what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's a starting point. So ask yourself, where am I?
Where am I? Who am I? How am I going to be? And what is the value that I add? And how do we take the world forward and solve our immediate problems, our community problems, social problems, national problems, and global problems? Conscious leadership, Graeme Butchart says, is the way to go. I hope you learned something. I did learn something here on the show. And remember to write to us, give us feedback, and the address is tonightwithtimmodise@gmail.com.